WFUM presents High School Challenge, the varsity sport of the mind. Now here's your host, Jim Gaver.
Hello everybody, and welcome to our second semifinal game. We have already determined that North Branch will have an opportunity to defend its championship from last year. We are about to see which of these two fine teams they will be defending against. So let's meet our players right away, shall we? First, from Hartland High School, we have Mike Hogan. Mike is a senior involved with drama, jazz band, Odyssey of the Mind, and Chemistry Olympiad. Undecided on his school right now, but hopes to become a math teacher. Deborah Thompson is a senior at Hartland, secretary of the National Honor Society, active with Michigan Summer Institute, theater, computers, will attend Michigan State and study genetic engineering. Mason Lee is the captain of the Hartland team. Mason is a senior, involved with Drama, National Honor Society, and the French National Honor Society. Plans on attending the University of Michigan, is undecided on a major field of study right now. Chris Poisson rounds out the Hartland team. Chris is a junior, plays soccer, is active with Science Olympiad and Social Studies Olympiad. Undecided on his school, but he will study law. Those are our players from Hartland. We congratulate you for making it to the semifinals. Dennis Ringvelski is the Hartland coach, and alternates today are Dan Halstead, Paul Rogers, and Todd Sanderson. So we welcome you, as we welcome and congratulate our team from Milford in the semifinal. John Lenning is a junior at Milford, collects baseball cards, enjoys sports of all kinds and reading, hopes to become a writer or an engineer. Nathaniel Sloan is the captain of the Milford team. Nathaniel is a junior. He is active with debate, Science Olympiad, also collects cards and enjoys computer programming. Will attend the University of Michigan or Purdue and study computer engineering and programming. Randy Urbance is a senior at Milford. Randy is German club president. He's also enjoys soccer, bowling, and skiing. Is member of the National Honor Society and president of the senior class. Will attend the University of Michigan or Michigan Tech and study chemical engineering. And Brian Brofman rounds out the Milford team. Brian is a senior, plays the cello, is active in both orchestral and chamber music organizations, also enjoys table tennis, undecided right now on a college or career track. Cheryl Elmer is the coach of the Milford team, and with Cheryl as alternates today are Tony Lupa and Brian Lutz. So we welcome both schools. We remind you that our judge for High School Challenge from Genesee Intermediate School District is Barb Powers. Our timekeeper, scorekeeper, is Doreen Bush. Teams, you've been here a number of times, but here are the rules once again for round one. I'll ask you a series of questions worth 10 points apiece. The player buzzing first may answer when I recognize you. If you're correct, your team scores the 10 points. If you're incorrect, the other team gets a crack at the same question. Remember, you may interrupt me anytime I'm asking a question. There's no point penalty if you're incorrect. However, at that point, I'll repeat the entire question for the other team. Good luck. Here we go. In the play's last scene, only Linda, Biff, Happy, Nathaniel Milford.
Death of a salesman.
That's incorrect. In the play's last scene, only Linda, Biff, Happy, and Charlie are at his funeral. None of his customers have come. Who is the salesman in Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman? Deborah Hartland.
Willie Loman.
Willie Loman is correct. William Shakespeare is the Bard of Avon. What 19th century American poet was known as the Belle? Deborah Hartland.
Emily Dickinson.
That's correct. Of a trapezius, a trapezium, and a trapezoid, which one is a large muscle of the upper... Mason Hartland.
Trapezius.
That's correct. It's the force needed to keep an object moving in a circular path. Mason Hartland.
Centripetal force?
Centripetal is correct. By law, it contains 925 parts silver per thousand, with copper added for durability and strength. Randy Milford.
A quarter?
That's incorrect. By law, it contains 925 parts silver per thousand, with copper added for durability and strength. What is this material used for jewelry, trophies, and dinnerware? Chris Hartland.
Sterling silver.
Sterling silver is the correct answer. Abraham Lincoln was president during the Civil War. Who was president of the United States when the first states seceded? Chris Hartland.
Buchanan.
That's correct. The region of the world now known as Iraq was once known as the land between... Randy Milford.
Mesopotamia.
That's the correct answer. In 1904, he traveled to Panama to Mason Hartland. Theodore Roosevelt is correct. The Nobel Prize is awarded in 6 categories, including peace, chemistry, physics, literature, and medicine. Mason Hartland.
Economics.
Economics is the newest Nobel Prize. That's correct. In traditional ones, you'll find a transept, a narthex, an apse. Mason Hartland.
A church.
A church is the answer. It's a device that converts potential energy to kinetic... Randy Milford.
A machine.
That's incorrect. It's a device that converts potential energy to kinetic energy and back again while relying on centripetal force to counteract your inertia. Some call it a scream, some call it terror. What is it? Chris Hartland.
A Ferris wheel.
That's incorrect. It is a roller coaster. Right park, wrong ride. Famous ones include the Turtle, the Triton, the Thresher. John Milford.
Submarine.
Submarines is correct. Despite its name, about half of the 70,000 people who live on this island are women. What is Nathaniel Milford?
No answer.
Despite its name, about half of the 70,000 people who live on this island are women. What is this island in the Irish Sea? Mason Hartland.
Isle of Man.
Isle of Man is the correct answer. Iran was once known as Mason Hartland.
Sri Lanka.
That's incorrect. Iran was once known as Persia. What was it called before it was Persia? Time's up. You're going to hate me. Iran is the correct answer. Of The Idiot, the Seagull, and the Possessed, which was written by the Russian playwright Anton Mason Hartland?
The Seagull.
Seagull is correct. In 1896, the reviews of his last novel were so hostile and negative that he never wrote another one. He turned to poetry instead and wrote the Wessex poems. Who's last? Brian Milford.
Thomas Harding.
Thomas Hardy is correct. I'm sorry. That is not an acceptable answer. And I have given the correct answer there. Another toss-up and not give them or give them a chance. Okay, the next toss-up then, Hartland. You will. This is your question in response to that one. Headed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, it was a special commission appointed to investigate the assassination of John F. Kennedy. What was it called? Mason Hartland.
The Warren Commission.
That's correct. Okay, now we're back to a true toss-up. It used to be called the OGPU, then the NKVD, then the MGB. Since 1954, it's been known by another 3-letter abbreviation. Deborah Hartland.
KGB.
KGB is correct. It's the only substance in nature which can absorb and store the energy of the sun. Deborah Hartland.
Chloroplasts.
It's incorrect. Nathaniel Milford.
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll is the correct answer. Begun in 1795, it was never finished. In fact, it may be the most famous unfinished painting in the world. Who painted the Athenaeum portrait of George Washington? Brian Milford.
Carver.
It's incorrect. You may take it. Hartland. Hartland. Chris.
Stewart.
Stewart is the correct answer. On the church calendar, November 1st is All Saints' Day. What name is given to November's Mike Hartland? No answer? On the church calendar, November 1st is All Saints' Day. What name is given to November 2nd? Nathaniel Milford.
All Saints' Second Day.
All Souls' Day. The city is divided into 4 sections. Nathaniel Milford.
Berlin.
It's incorrect. The old city is divided into 4 sections. Armenian, Muslim, Christian, and Jewish quarters. The new city includes the Hadassah Medical Center and the Knesset. What Middle Eastern city is it? Deborah Hartland.
Jerusalem?
That's correct. In its native language, the name of this musical instrument means jumping flea. What is this four-stringed Hawaiian instrument? Deborah Hartland.
Ukulele?
Ukulele is correct. His father was Zeus, his mother Danae. He grew up to tame Pegasus and rescue Randy Milford.
Perseus?
Perseus is correct. Hydrogen is element number 1, helium is number 2, lithium is number 3. What is element? Mason Hartland.
Beryllium?
Beryllium is correct. You'd have been upset if I was looking for number 5, wouldn't you? Pitcairn Island, Samoa, Tonga, Easter Island, and Hawaii are all members of this group of Pacific islands. What is Mike Hartland?
Polynesian Islands?
That's correct.
Nice job.
And that's the buzzer. And we are at the end of round 1, ready to move into our lightning round. As you can see behind me, Milford, you trail at this point. You'll have first crack at round 2. That's our lightning round. I'll give you a choice of 3 categories. Once you've selected, you'll have 60 seconds to answer up to 10 questions in that category. You don't have to buzz in this round, and you may consult, but I'll only be accepting the answers of Nathaniel, the team captain. If you don't know an answer, you must say pass before I continue. You'll get 10 points for each correct answer, a 20-point bonus if all 10 are correct. Nathaniel, once your minute is up, Hartland, you will have 30 seconds rather, to answer any questions they missed, passed on, or didn't get to. Milford, your choices today are Me Too, Easy as ABC, or How Are You?
ABC? Yeah. Yeah. I'd say how are you, but easy as ABC.
Okay, easy as ABC. You knew your alphabet in grade school. Now let's see how well you know it now. For 10 points each, what letter of the alphabet matches each of the following descriptions? So I'll describe something. Your answer will be a letter of the alphabet. Here we go. We begin with number 1, the long tapered stick used in billiards and pool.
Q.
Correct. The top letter on a Snellen chart used to test your eyes.
E.
Correct. The railroad that runs through the loop in Chicago.
L.
Correct. The central character in The Castle by Kafka.
K.
Correct. The last name of the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
J.
Correct. These cells of the immune system are attacked by the AIDS virus.
T.
Correct. 1931 thriller starring Peter Lorre, directed by Fritz Lang.
Z or X? Z.
Incorrect. The shape of St. Andrew's cross or the Greek letter chi.
X.
Correct. A 3-speed stick shift follows this shape.
H.
Correct. Novel by Thomas Pynchon about a master spy known only as?
Z.
Incorrect. Got through all 10, 8 out of 10 correct for 80 points. Hartland, we turn it over to you. 30 seconds are set on our clock. First, 1931 thriller starring Peter Lorre, directed by Fritz Lang.
There's an X. I don't know. X.
It's incorrect. Novel by Thomas Pynchon about a master spy known only as?
It might be X. They tried Z. V.
V is correct. And the one missed, the 31 thriller with Peter Lorre, was M. And now we turn to Hartland. Hartland, you may select between Me Too or How Are You?
How are you?
Okay, how you do on this quiz will depend on how you are with Are You, especially people, places, and things whose names begin with Are You. Here we go. We begin with number 1. In German folklore, he spun straw into gold.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Correct. University at New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Rutgers.
Correct. British philosopher who won the Nobel Prize in Literature.
Rutkin?
No. Rutherford.
Incorrect. The 24 letters of an ancient Germanic alphabet.
Ruins.
Correct. 17th century Flemish painter of mythical...
Rubens.
Correct. The 12th century Persian poem written by Omar Khayyam.
Rubaiyat.
Correct. Cows, goats, sheep, camels, animals.
Ruminants.
That's correct. Karl Čapek's 1922 play about robots.
Run, Robot, Run.
Run, Robot, Run.
Incorrect. Meadow near the Thames where the Magna Carta was signed in 1215.
Rutgersfield.
Runny Mead.
Correct. A turnip with a large yellowish root.
Rutabaga.
That's correct, and that's all 10. I'm not sure where Runnymede came from, but you get credit for it. And now, Milford, I turn to you. 30 seconds are set. First, remember, these begin with R.U., British philosopher who won the Nobel Prize in Literature.
Rudyard Kipling.
It's incorrect. Karl Čapek's 1922 play about robots.
Rule the world. Rule the world.
It's incorrect. The correct answers for those are the British philosopher was Bertrand Russell, and R-U-R, was the Karl Čapek play about robots. A lot of answers to those two sets of questions. We'll total up all those points and be back with our final round where anything can happen. That's our extra credit round to determine which of these two teams move on right after this. Welcome back. 270 to 120, as you can see behind me, but I remind both teams that anything can happen here. It's our extra credit round. You're answering 10-point toss-ups for the right at extra credit questions worth as much as 30 additional points. Good luck. Here we go. It's a French name. It means woods, and Blanche means white. So the two together mean white woods. Who explains Nathaniel Milford?
Oh, I forgot. Unless I had no answer.
Time's up. It's a French name. It means woods, and branch means white. So the two together mean white woods. Who explains her name in this line from Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire? Mike Hartland.
Blanche Dubois.
That's correct. Hartland, this question may be easy pickings. We'd like you to identify the authors of these fruity literary works. First, for 5 points, who wrote The Cherry Orchard?
Chekhov.
Chekhov.
Correct. For 10 points, who wrote A Clockwork Orange?
Burgess.
Correct. For the full 30, who wrote The Candy-Colored Tangerine Flake Streamlined Baby?
Wolf.
That's correct for all 30. His unusual stories about the unusual Glass family have unusual titles, including A Perfect Day for Banana Fish, Raise High the Roof Beam, Deborah Hartland.
J.D. Salinger.
That's correct. Hartland, identify the authors of this potpourri of literary works, which are found on the list of suggested reading for incoming freshmen at many colleges. First, for 5 points, who wrote the novel The Color Purple?
Alice Walker.
Walker.
Correct. For 10 points, who wrote the poem The Eve of St. Agnes?
Moore.
It's incorrect. John Keats is the answer. Now the toss-up teams, the hen, the bear, the clock, and the surprise are Chris Hartland.
Haydn.
Haydn is the answer I needed. They were all symphonies. Heartland duels have been a surprisingly frequent part of our history. For 5 points, name the Vice President of the United States who killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel.
Burr.
That's correct. For 10 points, name the only man to become President of the United States after killing a man in a duel.
That's a Jackson. Jackson.
Jackson.
That's correct. For the full 30, name the Georgian who signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and died in a duel in 1777.
Oglethorpe.
Incorrect. Button Gwinnett is the correct answer. Another toss-up teams. They are the arteries which supply blood to the brain. They run along the sides of the neck and divide into two branches. What are these blood vessels called? Mason Hartland.
Carotid. Arteries.
That's incorrect. Milford Nathaniel.
Carotid or carotid arteries.
That's the correct answer, carotid artery. Milford, here's your bonus. A few questions about historical firsts for 5 points. Which came first, the first pharaoh of Egypt or the first emperor of China?
Emperor of China.
First emperor of China.
It's the first pharaoh. Chinese emperor was in the 3rd century BC, Pharaoh 15. Another toss-up. Vitamin K, the enzyme thrombin, and the protein fibrinogen all play essential roles in this. Randy Milford.
Blood clotting.
That's the correct answer. Milford, this question may be tough as leather or maybe not. For 5 points, what group of individuals are known as leathernecks?
Marines.
Marines.
Correct. For 10 points, what kind of animal is a leatherback?
Alligator?
A turtle. That's the answer I needed. Another toss-up, teams. The word, the word comes from the Greek for sacred carvings because the Greeks found them inscribed on the temples and tombs of ancient. Randy Milford.
Hieroglyphics.
That's the correct answer. Milford, the country of Egypt, is bordered by 3 other countries. For 5 points, name one of them.
Israel.
Israel. The Sudan.
That's correct.
Israel.
For 10 points, name another.
Israel.
That's correct.
Libya.
And for 15 points, or the total of 30, name
Libya.
the third. That's correct for the full 30. Another toss-up team, King Fahd is the current ruler of this country, which occupies most of the Arabian Peninsula. Mason Hartland.
Saudi Arabia.
That's correct. Hartland, let's play a quick visit to the White House. For 5 points, what's the address of the White House?
1600 Pennsylvania
Avenue.
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Correct. For 10 points, how many rooms are in the White House? Is it 32, 72, or 132?
72.
72.
132. Inflation, you know. In 1643, at the age of 5, he became Mason Hartland.
Louis XIV.
That's correct.
Nice.
Harlan, Michael Jackson isn't the only person who's done a little moonwalking. For 5 points, who was the first person to walk on the moon?
Neil Armstrong.
Correct. For 10 points, who was the second person to walk on the moon?
Buzz Aldrin.
Correct. And for the full 30, who was the third person to walk on the moon?
Shepard.
Shepard, yes.
Alan Shepard.
Charles Conrad is the answer. This is a toss-up. He was studying to be a priest when he joined the Social Democratic Party and became a professional revolutionary. In 1917, he became an editor of Pravda, and in 1922, General Secretary of the Communist Party. Who became head of the Soviet Union in Chris Hartland.
Stalin.
That's correct.
Good job, Chris.
Harlan, John Keats, Lord Byron, and Percy Shelley all died within 3 years of each other. For 5 points, which of them died first and youngest?
I'd say Byron. I think Byron.
Okay.
Byron.
Keats is the correct answer. Another toss-up. It includes a member of class Aves, genus Corvus, species Corax, a bust of the Greek goddess of wisdom, and Chris Hartland.
An owl.
That's incorrect. Randy Milford.
A raven.
Raven is the correct answer. We'd like you to identify the decade in which each of these works of American literature were published. Milford, first, for J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man, and Arthur Miller's The Crucible. Was it the 1950s or the 1960s?
1950s.
That's correct. For 10 points, Main Street by Sinclair Lewis, Claude McKay's Home to Harlem, and William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. Was it the 1920s, 1930s, or 1940s?
30s.
You sure? 1920s.
20s is correct. For the full 30, Joel Chandler Harris's Uncle Remus, Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn, and Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. Was it the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, or 1890s?
1880s.
That's correct for the full 30. Here's another toss-up. Primavera was the Roman goddess Deborah Hartland.
Botticelli.
Botticelli is the correct answer. Hartland, as we learn to be more environmentally conscious, we might recall these landmarks in environmental history. For 5 points, what president signed the Wilderness Act in 1964, protecting 9 million acres of wild country?
Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson.
Correct. For 10 points, in the 1930s, the CCC restored millions of acres of devastated land. What was the CCC?
Civilian Conservation Corps.
Go ahead.
Civilian Conservation Corps.
Correct? And for the full 30, what area of the Sierra Nevada mountains in California became a national park in 1890?
I used to remember, but I can't.
Yeah, but Yosemite.
Okay. Yosemite National Park?
That's the correct answer for the full 30. That concludes it. Now we are down to 2. Hartland is our second finalist. We congratulate you. They'll be here in just a moment to play North Branch, Milford. Once again, congratulations to you on a fine season, as you have every year on High School Challenge, another appearance in our Final Four, and good luck in your other competitions this year. We'll be back for our final championship game. I'm Jim Gaber.
And you stay tuned for the final championship game, which is going to be coming up in just a few moments. But in the meantime, take a moment, go to the phone, and make a pledge to keep this kind of programming alive and well. Local programming that reflects the intellect and the kids of the community we brought to you because we know that there's an audience out there that enjoys this kind of television. Give us a call, make a pledge, and get involved.
The High School Challenge is made possible on WFUM in part by grants from Citizens Bank, the Genesee Intermediate School District, and Kessel Food Markets. We're with you. And by the contributing members of WFUM.